March, the month before my average last frost date, is when I begin my first wave of planting. Here is what I am planting in my raised beds and what you can expect to potentially plant in the month before your average last frost date as well. First, let's start with broccoli. I've planted broccoli in this raised bed because I want to get it as much of a head start as I can, so hopefully I can get plenty of broccoli heads before it gets warm. I ended up planting the broccoli among this clover that I planted last fall as a cover crop. I also planted mustard greens as an overwintering cover crop, but it didn't survive our 0-degree winter. But clover did. This is red crimson clover. I wanted to nestle this broccoli kind of amongst this so that the clover could continue to add nitrogen and fertility to the soil. I do like to plant my broccoli about 18 inches apart, and typically that's about every 2 squares in this Garden in Minutes garden grid. But because of the way that the clover ended up growing, a few of these I had to get a little bit closer together, but I chose varieties that were more compact. Some of the varieties that need to have more space, I definitely gave them more room, like this Gemini here in the back. But this bed completely full of broccoli, I'm hoping to have a really good broccoli harvest in as early as late April. But within this broccoli, there are still some squares that are empty. And here I've planted some of my brassica greens, like brassica greens mixes, specifically arugula and kale and mustard, and all these different salad greens that are brassicas. I've found that they grow really fast and they cover the soil pretty quickly, so I don't have to worry about weed pressure, and it basically becomes a living mulch. So between the clover and the brassica mixes, I feel like this bed will be filled out and really pretty once everything gets growing strong. In this bed, it's very similar. I have cauliflower, and with this bed, because I didn't have a cover crop growing in it, I didn't have to worry about closely spacing the cauliflower. They are spaced at every other square here. And I do still have some spinach and some arugula that have overwintered, but they will be coming out pretty quickly. And I plan to add some flowers in between this cauliflower, specifically alyssum, to try to help attract beneficial insects to this area. In this raised bed, and I have another one just like it, I am interplanting cabbages with onions. Now let's talk about cabbages first. Cabbages are planted about the same time as broccoli, although they aren't as heat sensitive. So I could have waited if I wanted to, but they were doing so well, and I'm excited for cabbages this year. But the way that I interplanted them is I do have one every square here of the Garden of Minutes garden grid, and typically I would want them every other square, but these two on the ends are actually the smaller variety. This is Caraflex, and then I put the Ruby Perfection, which is a larger red one. I put that in between, so I'm hoping that's not going to be too close. And then back here in this corner, I've got 2 of the larger ones. These are farrow, so these will be a little bit larger. In between here, I've got mosh that's still growing from the winter, but it has not liked our 70-degree weather, so I don't think it's gonna last much longer. And then with the cabbage, I have found that cabbage and onions actually grow really well together. These particular onions were ones that I planted back in the fall, and you can see they have survived the winter just fine, and they're growing really strong. These are short day onions here in Arkansas. But I also am planting intermediate day onions and a specific variety of long day onion called Patterson. I'm planting that in my raised bed in my big garden, and that way I'll be able to have an early harvest of short day onions, but then also behind that will be the intermediate day onions, which would be the candy variety, one of my favorites, and then the Patterson right behind that. So in this way, I'm hopefully going to be able to succession harvest onions. But in this particular bed, you can see how the onions and the cabbage do grow really well together. Moving on over here to my elevated raised beds, I'm going to be having a planting of beets on each side over here. Number one, I love beets. I had a friend ask me just this week, why are you planting so many beets? What are you doing with all of that? I pickle my beets because I love them for salads. But I also love the look of beets. I think they are beautiful. And in this particular bed, because it's a focal point from our home, I like to focus on beauty of the bed, but I didn't want to just make it flowers this year. I wanted to make it productive as well. So I've got beets here that are planted about every 6 inches. These in particular, I started from seed indoors. Well, actually, I started them in the greenhouse, and as soon as they sprouted, I planted them out here. That way I could get a head start on germination, and then if there were any issues with spotty germination, I would know, where they would be here in this section. I'm excited about these. I think these will be fun to have here in my kitchen garden, but this is just a fraction of the beets that I've planted. I've got like 4 other raised beds in my big garden where I'm doubling down on beets this year. I just ran out of my pickled beets for my salads, and I am wanting them to last all year this year. But this is a good start with this raised bed. And then back here, I have a new trellis I'll talk to you a little bit about in another video, but I will be adding peas here to be able to climb this trellis. I love planting peas in this time of year. It just makes a really sweet beginning of a harvest, and they'll be climbing up this trellis, and I will be directly sowing those into the garden. Next, in this bed where I've had collard greens growing all winter, aren't they looking amazing? And then I've got some garlic here in the center of this bed. I added my first planting of lettuce transplants. You can see they've already gotten established and are growing really well. And I choose to do lettuce transplants at the beginning of March, or even I think I planted these at the later part of February, because the soil is still pretty cool and I don't trust lettuce seeds germinating at that cool of soil temperature. So I started them indoors, transplanted them out so I can get an early harvest of lettuce. And then of course I will be succession planting lettuce and greens all season, both in my raised beds and in my green stock. This bed is going to be a combination planting of carrots, celery, and eventually peppers. But carrots and celery are the ones that are going to go in March. What I'm going to do is every other square here in this bed is going to be earmarked for peppers. Now peppers won't be planted till the later part of April, early part of May, but I'm leaving room for those. And in between the peppers, I'll be planting either celery or carrots. I've done this combination in the past and it's done really well. With the carrots, I'll plant them from seed directly in the garden, usually early March, and then the celery will follow a couple weeks later because the celery transplants don't love the cold or can't tolerate the cold as well as other cool season crops do. So usually probably 2 to 3 weeks before my average last frost date, I will put in the celery. So this bed is going to be full with both cool season crops of carrots and celery, and then filled in with peppers. And then later in the season, I will replace the carrots and the celery with another cool season crop in the fall. So this is one of those beds that's just going to continually be turned over throughout the season with continuous full season production. Finally, in this bed right here, this half of it, I will be planting potatoes. Now I just got my potato order in, and honestly I forgot what all I ordered, so I'm going to be unboxing this with you to show you what I got. These came from Wood Prairie Family Farm, and I'll have potatoes here on this half, and then I'm also going to be planting more in my big garden. But I'm going to be trying some new ones this year, and I've also got some that I've tried in the past that I really liked. So let's take a look at what I've got. Okay, so the first one is Caribe. This is a purple potato that I've grown in the past, and it's done really well in my Arkansas climate. So I know that one's a tried and true. Next, another one that I've grown before, Red Cloud. I like Red Cloud because it is a longer dormancy variety, which basically means once I harvest it, it'll stay in the pantry longer. And that way I can have this for later in the season. Whereas some of the other ones that don't have as long of a dormancy, they need to be eaten more quickly. Next is a Sharpo Una. This is new to me. This is something Wood Prairie wanted me to try out myself for the first time. Rosy skin with waxy, moist, white flesh. If it says waxy, a lot of times that means it's really good for soups, or in my case, if I decide to can any potatoes, these are good for canning. High yielding, rare, excellent for soups, salads, and baking. Yep, it even says it on the package. So it'll be interesting to see how that does here in Arkansas. And then Caribou Russet. I think I tried this once as a fall planting, but I haven't ever tried it as a spring planting before. It's a high quality potato, best for baking, mashing, and frying. It's a mid-season variety, which is kind of a risk for me here in Arkansas because we go hot really quickly, and sometimes potatoes can suffer in the heat. But I want to try it out because I really wanted a good baking potato. My husband loves that with his steaks, so we'll see how this does this year. This is another new one, Red Port. I've never grown this one before. Bright red skin potato, high yields, mid-season, delicious steamed, sauteed, and au gratin. So this will be brand new to me. I love trying new varieties of potatoes. I'll tell you, it wasn't until I started getting potatoes from Wood Prairie that I realized how much more variety you have than what you get at the grocery store, which is like your red and your yellow and your white. And you're able to tell the difference in texture and in flavor and all of that. Next I have Prairie Blush, and this is a cross that Wood Prairie Family Farm has created, and I think it's a cross between Yukon Gold and something else. Old-fashioned potato flavor, exceptional roasted, fried, or boiled, and I have grown this before and it's absolutely beautiful. I'm excited to try it again this year. And then finally we have Purple Viking. I tried this for the first time last year, absolutely loved it. It yielded amazing in my garden, and I didn't know until I talked to Jim and his son Caleb on the podcast about how this one in particular is more resistant to leaf hoppers, which I have a lot of leaf hoppers here, and they can cause a lot of problems with the ultimate yield in the potato harvest. And this is what I realized and what I loved last year, and I didn't even realize how great they were against leaf hoppers, is it was delicious. I could totally tell the difference in the flavor between Purple Viking and some other ones. Absolutely loved it. So I'm excited they sent this to me to grow again this year because it does well and it is delicious. But I am only doing potatoes on half this bed. The other bed, you can see this trellis. I'll talk to you about more in a future video, but this trellis is gonna be probably more for peas. I'm gonna grow some more peas and also some cucumbers on this side. And then I'm gonna try growing tomatoes. This is kind of a sneak peek to a little bit later. On the other side, up the trellis. I've seen a lot of people do that. I've just never done it before, and I'm curious to see how it will do. So if you've grown tomatoes up an arch trellis like this, I would love to hear your tips. This will be, something that it'll be a nice little experiment this year. So that's it. Those are the crops that are going in the ground in March for me here in Arkansas, about a month before my average last frost date. And like I said before, depending on when your frost date is, you can grow many of these about a month before yours as well. Now, if you're new to growing onions or lettuce or broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, we have new downloadable free quick start guides that we've just created. We'll put that link in the description so you can download them just to be able to help you get a good start to some of these crops. I love these cool season crops. I love that I can get them in March when we're finally getting some nice weather and I'm itching to get in the garden, and I can get them harvested before the heat of the summer arrives. These are some of my favorite crops. I know everybody loves the tomatoes and the cucumbers and all of that. The cool season crops for me is where it's at. They bring me so much joy. So be sure you're subscribed and I will take you along for the journey in my garden to see how this year's garden turns out.